everyone, and welcome to the For Fun of Knit podcast. My name is Linda, and this is my channel where I share all my adventures and misadventures in knitting, a little bit of crochet, and sometimes spinning. So thank you for opting to watch for a little while. If you're a returning viewer, it's so nice to spend this time with you again. If you're brand new, thank you for giving the channel a shot and see if you like it. Anyway, this is my 5-year podiversary. Yay! Can you believe it? I have been podcasting for 5 years, since November 2019, and how fitting is it that I am back in Spain, where I started my podcast in the Costa del Sol. As a matter of fact, I might even be wearing the very same knit. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to have to check that now that I'm thinking about it. We are definitely going to do a traditional podcast today. I've got lots to share with you. It is almost the end of November. I have one finished object, not many. I have some works in progress that I want to show you, just update you on, and then I want to share all the fun of Barcelona knits, including a few acquisitions. And we will save some of the chatter towards the end. But for these videos, I will be breaking it up into 2 or 3 parts, depending on how long this goes. I keep trying to make them short and it doesn't work. But because my technology is a little on the ancient side, I have to do it in 3 parts. Otherwise, I cannot upload the videos as one big file. I know, who really cares about that? But just saying, there's going to be part 1 and part 2 and maybe part 3. So without further ado, let me start talking to you about what I'm wearing. This is the Summer in the City shawl. This is an old knit. I have had this around forever. It is made with, I do believe, Madeline Tosh singles in the color Coneflower. And it's absolutely lovely, and it is a beautiful poncho that is so versatile. It is simply garter and drop stitches, where you wrap the yarn and then you drop them. And you can basically do whatever you want. I ended up putting some beads at the very end of it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you see that? Can you see the beads? I'm not too sure. But I put beads at the bottom just to weigh it down. I love this. I should make this again because it is such a useful garment, and I love the weight of it. I just made my bind off too tight. It's one of the first things I ever made, and I didn't understand about a stretchy bind off. So while it's nice and flowy, it does restrict my movement a little bit just because I didn't do the bind off properly. So that is what I am wearing. Let's talk about finished objects. What did I do with my finished objects? One of them is actually a half finished object, but I'm going to show it to you. Yay! I have finished one stained glass sock. So this sock is made with the color of the nice fun colored yarn is Black Cat Custom Yarns in the color Light Bright. And I think it's just, it's their luxury sock base, which they don't sell anymore, unfortunately, which is an MCN. It is merino, cashmere, and nylon. And then the dark is a BFL sock from Les Garçons. I can't remember the colorway at the moment. Butler, I think it's called Butler. And I'm a little concerned because it's quite thin. It's quite a fine yarn. These are 2 very, very different yarns, which doesn't matter when you're doing color work because you get that double weight. But when I did the heel in the single weight, I'm a little concerned that it might be a little, not as sturdy as I would like it to be, not as long wearing, but we'll see. So this is stained glass sock number 1. Oh, I finally finished it. This was a labor of love, and I have to be honest, not sure I'm a fan of colorwork socks. I keep trying. I love the look of them, but socks are already a big commitment just to knit a vanilla pair of socks. Once you start doing color work, I don't know, this is a great pattern. It was so simple. It was an easy repeat. It took me 3 tries to get the heel right. I used the shadow wrap short row heel, and trying to fit my heel is just like, you need a science degree, honestly. And then I mucked up the color work in the back just because when I started joining in the round, my stitches weren't the right count anymore. And so it took me a couple of rows to figure that out. So a little messy, but I don't mind. They're for me. People are only ever going to see the top of the sock. And let me just show you the top of the sock in all of its beautiful glory. That's the top of the sock. It is beautiful. That's what people are going to see. They're not going to see that I mucked up the bottom because I kept forgetting to alternate colors. And they're not going to see really that I mucked up the pattern in the back. So this is sock number 1. I'm happy to have it off the needles. I will finish sock number 2, but that will come a little bit later. But needless to say, very happy, fits me very, very, very well. The next finished object I have, excuse me, I dropped it. Sorry about that, headshot. And I love these, my Pioneer gloves. Look at my Pioneer gloves. So if you saw my last episode, you know I am on a fingerless mitt kick. Now, couple things about these. I knit these in Barcelona, or I finished them in Barcelona when I went to Barcelona Knits. What I would say about these is I made them too long. That was one of the options in the pattern, to make a longer arm. I would have preferred if they were this long. And as a matter of fact, I'm probably just going to double up the cuff because that to me is more comfortable. I get why long would work if it's a breezy kind of a day and the wind's going up your coat sleeves and you're wearing short sleeves. That's kind of nice. However, for me, just from a comfort standpoint, and maybe it's the yarn, and I'll tell you about that in a minute, maybe the yarn is not as soft as it needs to be, because this is sock yarn. This is my leftover sock yarn from my Go-Go Dynamo shawl. And maybe it's just because I can feel it. You know, it's not a mohair or a cashmere, you know, or 100% merino feel. This is sock yarn. This is merino, and I think it's merino. Yes, it's merino, superwash merino, and nettle. So it's this is their Little Nettle Soft. It is a beautiful yarn in the antique colorway. But I love, look at the thumb gusset. Very beautiful gusset, which is what I was looking for, mitts with gussets. And this one is a totally different take on the gusset than the Everything November mitts, which is fun to do different versions. I don't have a favorite. The other thing I would do with these ones, and this was me, I got impatient. I stopped too soon. I should have done another inch. So, doesn't matter. I love them. I am on a mission to knit a lot more fingerless mitts, but I think I'm going to try my next pair without using sock yarn. I'm going to use a little bit of a nicer yarn for myself. So those are my 2 finished objects. Now let's talk about my WIPs. You know about my WIPs, but the 3 that I'm going to share with you today are right here. Now, I have moved everything that wasn't in a Christmas project bag into a Christmas project bag because it's coming up to my most favorite time of year, and we'll talk about that more in chatter if you want to hear about it. But, so these are the 3 projects that I want to share with you. Let's start, where am I going to start? Let's start with, this is in my, I think this is my Quanta, yeah, this is my Quanta bag. She doesn't do bags anymore, unfortunately. But this is my Aura Vest by Irene Lynn. Look at this vest. I have made what I consider to be very good progress. The pattern starts with casting on the back and then working this seam. You work the back, and then you stop, you put it on hold on your cord. You're supposed to put the live stitches on a separate cord or on some waste yarn. I don't do that because the next step is to pick up stitches along this edge and knit the left panel. Well, I just use a very long cord set of needles, and I just do that without taking the back off the needles. So you knit the left, and then you are supposed to put this on waste yarn, which I don't do. I don't put the left on waste yarn. I leave it on the cord. I just start picking up the right shoulder stitches, knit the right front panel with all the increases. Then you join the two panels, then you knit for a bit, and then you join everything in the round. So I am now so excited because now I am on the body. And I think it's probably good if I do a repeat of this pattern a day. I'm thinking I can probably get this vest done before my next little trip, which I'll talk about in chatter. So that is very, very exciting. This, I have to say, the yarn I'm using is Katja Merino Classic. This is 55% wool, 45% acrylic, and this is a new favorite yarn of mine. It is super cost effective. It is light, bouncy, has amazing stitch definition, and it doesn't feel like there's any plastic in it at all. I don't know how it will wear, but I have to say, I want to bring home more of this because does anybody know, can we get this in Canada? It's called Merino Classic. Haven't looked, but that would be nice to know. Be curious about the price point too, but I think I might bring some home with me. This is Irene Lynn's Aura Vest, which I've said, but I'm knitting it because Honeybird Studio was having a cal to the December 31st on anything Irene Lynn. And this is her annual Irene Lynn make-along. I didn't join the make-along, but she always inspires me. So, yay. This knit is so intuitive. It is a 6-row repeat for the lace pattern. You get a rest row every second row. So row 1 is lace, row 2 is a rest row, row 3 is lace, 4 is a rest row, 5 is lace, 6 is a rest row, and repeat. Fabulous. The only time I had to pay attention was when I went from knitting flat, so knitting a knit side and a purl side, to working in the round, because then your rest row switches from mostly purl stitches to mostly knit stitches, and I kept forgetting that. So I had to undo it a couple times until my brain reset and I was able to continue in the right pattern. But that was the only challenge. The other area I think that could hang people up a little bit is the first lace row has a lot of yarn overs, and there are yarn overs back to back. So sometimes if you're not paying attention on the rest row where you work those yarn overs, it's a good thing to be counting in your head, knowing that you're counting and getting all the stitches, because it's easy to miss a yarn over, number one, and it's easy to forget to pick up a yarn over because they're back to back. They're not as easily visible when you're doing your rest row. So you just have to pay a little attention. I don't want to say any more than that because I can't give the pattern away. It's a paid for pattern, but just be careful on your rest rows when it comes to the very first lace row, row 2, when you're picking up your yarn overs, pay attention, because that was the trickiest row of the entire pattern. Not hard at all, but I can see how you would make mistakes and perhaps lose a few stitches that way. I did not lose any stitches. Shock and awe. I have not dropped stitches. Okay, knock on wood now. I have not dropped stitches. I haven't lost stitches. It has been such an intuitive knit. I cannot wait to keep going on this. So I'm at the point now where I think I'm actually going to do the ribbing of the neck next, because I know that's going to pull things in a little bit, and that will help me determine the optimum length that I want. So wish me luck. I'm thinking I can finish this in the next 6 or 7 days. So early December, I'm hoping this will be finished, and hopefully this will be a finished object for you. Absolutely loving, loving, loving it. I am knitting a size 2, and I am using all the recommended needles. I haven't amended the pattern at all. It is 100% 2 pattern. And so far, dreamy knit, super dreamy knit. Moving on to work in progress number 2. So this one you are familiar with. This is Bags by Diane, I do believe, who has an Etsy shop. And I love this bag because I think it's my biggest Christmas project bag. And it is perfect to house my festive yoke sweater, which is a sweater by Skeindeer Knits, or Ellie. And you're all familiar with this sweater, I'm sure, but this is where I am so far. So I'm steeking it. This is a pullover pattern. The one I bought was the pullover pattern, and I'm steeking it because I've had it in my library forever, and she's since come up with a cardigan, but I like doing things in the round anyway. So steeking is technically my preferred method of making a cardigan, especially when you're using the most scrumptious woolly wool without being too scratchy. And this is lichen and lace, but look at my beautiful sweater so far. You can see my steeking rows here, but I used 3 motifs in 3 different colors of lichen and lace. This was the aqua that I over dyed to make it a little bit darker. This is the ginger color, and this is the citron, and the white is snow. The gray body is smoke. So this is my festive sweater, and yes, I'm having a knit along that I have paid no attention to, and I love you all for joining. Thank you so much, and there will be a prize at the end of the year. I say that every podcast. There you go. But there are my steeks. So if you can see that, I have an 11 stitch steek process where I purl, knit 4, purl, knit 4, and purl, and then I cut up the center purl. That's my steek. And since I saw you last, where was I? I think I had knit to where my star is. So if you can see that, I knit this about another 2 inches, and then I started on the sleeve, and I am doing the decreases exactly to pattern. And I love putting markers where my decreases are. One, I like the bling. It gives me something to do and something to strive for when I'm knitting sleeves. So, and that I got from sock knitting from the crazy sock lady, Kayla, but it works, and I like doing it on sleeves as well. This is super easy. It keeps me on track. I know how many rounds to do. And it keeps me motivated because I know how many more stitch markers I need to finish the sleeve. So I am almost finished the first sleeve, and then I'm going to move on to the second sleeve, and then I'll try it on and I will finish the body. So absolutely thrilled with this, and thank you for your comments regarding lichen and lace, which is apparently Briggs & Little is the base. Briggs & Little is the base, and this is a sport weight heathered wool, and it's called Lichen and Lace Heathered Sport. There you go, in all the beautiful, beautiful colors. And it is it's full of lanolin. It's lovely. Like, it just smells beautiful, feels amazing to knit with. I am looking forward to blocking it and having all the stitches kind of puff up and even out and fill out, which you have all assured me that will happen. So this is actually kind of a mystery knit in and of itself, because I've never knit with this wool, but I can recommend the feel of the knit. It is beautiful in terms of the enjoyment I'm getting of knitting this actual project. And there's the label. I hope you can see it. It's not too glary. I don't know. My lighting is terrible. Lichen and lace. So I know I'm speeding through these. It's because you've already heard about these, and I'm trying to keep this. Oh dear, oh no, I just closed my bag over my yarn. Oh, hang on. Not a good plan. Don't zipper your yarn. Don't zipper over your yarn. So that was work in progress number 2. Work in progress number 3. Are you all sitting down? This is very important because I'm about to show you something. You will all get a kick out of this. I have started the sleeves again on Patty's sweater. So I am knitting Patrick's sweater. Yes, I am this far on both sleeves. I'm knitting them in tandem. I am using 9-inch circulars, and everything with me is a little bit of an adventure. Oh, crumb. I just dropped did I drop a stitch? Oh, crumb. I'm putting this one down because this one I have just dropped all over the place. Where's this one? This one is a bit more secure. Okay, so everything with me is a bit of an adventure. First and foremost, I am knitting this with Drops Charisma. So let me see if I can pull out a skein of Drops Charisma. Yes, Drops Charisma in the granite colorway. I think it's called granite. There you go. It's 100% wool. It's 100% wool, true. Somewhere, Nancy Wheeler gave me a shock the other day of Knit, Sit, Sip Happy. Thank you, Nancy. I'm glad you gave me that shock. Why did I not know this was superwash wool? Why did I think it says 100% wool? Nowhere does it say superwash on this wool. It just says 100% wool. It's superwash. So for those of you who've been with me for the last 5 years, when I started this sweater, yes, I started this in 2019. This is my second. The first one I ripped out completely because I used the wrong yarn. I used an Aran weight, almost a bulky weight, Brooklyn Tweed Quarry for a pattern that required DK weight. So then I thought, okay, try it again with Drops Charisma. I wanted 100% wool. I did not want superwash. I wanted it to be rustic. It's supposed to be a fisherman's sweater. It's done in half fisherman's rib, and it's superwash. So imagine my surprise. I am terrified now. When I block this, is this thing going to be gargantuan? I have no idea. So just adding to the already 5-year drama on this sweater. Then, so no problem. So I am knitting in the round the sleeves. When I get to where I have to shape the sleeves, I'm going to start knitting back and forth. I'm hoping to goodness that the half fisherman's rib doesn't look any different knit flat than it does knit in the round. We shall see. I know my tension in knitting in the round. I started knitting both sleeves with the 3.5 millimeter needle, which is required for the body of the sweater. My gauge was too tight. The bottom of this is much tighter, more dense than the actual sweater. And so when I was comparing the two, I went, oh no, that's not good. So I switched to a 4 millimeter, and now the tension is perfect. And now it matches the body of the sweater. This bottom part here looks a lot smaller. 1, because my tension is tighter, but 2, I have already had to do some increases. So this is not all a tension issue. But I'm pretty sure that will block and I won't have an issue with the actual density, I guess, of the fabric. It's only 1 needle size difference, but it's a lot of fun to knit this way, and doing it in tandem is just super, super entertaining. So that is Patrick's fisherman sweater. Once I have done both sleeves, I am then going to stop. Before I do the cap shaping, before I do the shaping, I'm going to stop. Because I have only knit in the round the body from the bottom up to the armpit. I have shaped the back and bound off both shoulders in the back and the neck in the back. I now have to knit the front. Once I've done those sleeves, I have to do the shoulder shaping for the front, both panels, which is going to be knit front and back. Oh, that's interesting. I already knit flat in the back. Oh, and it doesn't look any different. I've answered my own question. It doesn't look any different. Yay me. Okay, that's good. So I have to knit each panel in the front, and I have to shape, not only shoulder shape, but I have to shape the neckline. And then I have to work the collar, which is very intricate. It causes me a little bit of trepidation. But once I've done the two side panels, I sew the shoulders together, and then I can determine the decrease rate for my shoulder caps. And so that might require some math, and I might be reaching out to you going, help, never done that before. I'm sure there's some sort of formula between the number of stitches in an armpit or a shoulder and the decreased rate of your shoulder cap on your sleeve. Yay, something else I get to research and learn. So you guys get to come along on that journey. So hopefully getting close. I'm knitting on it every day. And again, I am hoping that I get this finished and I'm able to gift it to you-know-who. Yes, this Christmas. So fingers crossed. I'm so excited. So those are my works in progress. So I hope you enjoyed that. And I'm going to end this segment here and go on to part 2, which is going to be all about Barcelona knits.